Welcome to the Wildy West, a podcast dedicated to being a voice for wild horses. My name is Chase McGoran, and I'll be your host. Let's save these horses together. All I ask you to do is listen. This is the season finale for episode 1. Thank you so much for tuning in this season. It has been such a wild ride and so much more effort than I initially realized when I undertook this project. At first, I thought it was going to be just me and my mom doing everything, organizing the interviews, getting the questions together, all of the scripting. I thought it was just going to be the two of us. And I naively believed that I was going to be able to get the whole thing done, editing and everything, over 3 weeks. 13 episodes was the original plan. We went down to 12. And I thought I was going to be able to get it all done over the 3 weeks that I had off from school in between semesters around Christmas time. That didn't happen. I have been putting in 40 plus hours every week, just trying to get it done, trying to bring the story of these horses to you. And there's no way I could have gotten any of that done without my incredible team, without the support I have had behind me. When I initially pitched the season finale episode, it was going to be something along the lines of what I'm doing to help. I'm just a guy. I'm just a chunkier guy. I like horses, and I fell in love with them through both my past and media, Lord of the Rings, Gandalf's horse, hanging out with my mom and seeing all of her passion for these horses. And it's really something it's contagious. And so initially, the first draft for this episode, I should say, I planned to just say kind of what I'm doing for the horses. And as the season went on, and as we took on more and more volunteers helping us to make this project a success and what it is today with all of our incredible people behind the scenes, I realized that just having my take and what I'm doing felt disingenuous, because the Wildy West isn't just me and my mom anymore. In fact, there's an entire team, and you're going to meet the majority of them actually in this episode. There are a couple of people who were unable to make it. Nam, who you saw earlier in our episode when she read that story for us, she was unfortunately unable to make it for an interview in time, and that's okay. She'll still be helping out. She's our social media manager, and she has done so much, and I want to say a huge thank you. She has been doing so much for us behind the scenes this year. And so a big thank you to her where I couldn't say it to her face in an interview. And a big thank you to everyone in this episode. But instead of just what I'm doing to help the horses, this episode is all about what the team's doing to help the horses, why they got involved. And really, it doesn't take a whole lot to get involved. It just takes passion, the right spark, and people who are willing to listen to your crazed ramblings. So, without further ado, please enjoy these super quick interviews I had with each and every member of the cast and crew of the Wildy West. Cool. I guess so. You get to, it's weird being on the other side of the interview.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're my son.
I am.
And I'm your mom. And I'll tell you, never in a million years did I think that you'd take this much of an interest in horses. Yeah. Because we had a farm and you weren't interested in the horses.
Not one bit.
I mean, you came to see the ones that were born. The foals, but really you were just more interested in the girls that were showing up for riding lessons than you were in the horses.
Yeah, back when I was a teenager, sure. Absolutely.
And so were your friends. Yeah. They were coming around for the same reason.
Yeah, they got those skills for the same reasons, you know, the horse mucking skills and whatnot, saying, hey, we work at a farm.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'd ignore Hunter and I going out to the Wildies until we came back with the story. So tell me, what on earth made you to decide to start this podcast?
Well, I had, when I initially pitched it to you, it was kind of just oh shoot, we should do a podcast. That could be fun. I've got, equipment that I'm not using for a whole lot right now. I think I would like to use it for something. And you were, still are obviously, heavily involved with horses. And I was like, well, I think that, we could do something with that. But it was kind of just like I tossed it out there. And then you came back with a story or a couple of stories about some of the rescues you'd been on and how emotional the journey was and all of that. And I didn't expect any of it because I know you have the stories about the government and what they're doing. And you have stories about horses just trying to fight for survival out in the wild. And every single time you'd come back, you'd tell me a new story and you'd get more and more emotional. And it wasn't like you being extra emotional. You told the story with the exact same cadence every single time. You tell it the way you tell your stories. But the more stories you told, the more it was like these horses are struggling. They're fighting for their survival. And it was really something that started to bother me. The more I found out that they were getting persecuted unfairly. So I put together an actual plan for the podcast over, I think it was the first semester, the summer. The end of the summer is when I started really putting together the plan. And then we got people interested and people were like, yeah, we would love to do interviews and stuff. And I didn't expect that at all. I thought it would just be me doing research and me doing full episodes and talking into a camera.
That kind of snowballed, didn't it?
It snowballed really hard, really quickly. And now we're here doing interviews with all kinds of experts and all kinds of incredible people from all over Canada that just care about these horses. And it surprised me that the passion that I brought as well as the other people that were willing to sit down and actually help me with this.
Now, before you started the podcast, you actually started a student group at Red Deer College.
I did. Yeah. We still need to hold elections because I have not had time because the podcast we're putting so much work in, but we're looking at the end of the semester. So in a couple of weeks here, we're hoping to actually have an election and get some elected officials in for the student group. It's called Hooves. I can't remember what it stands for. Help Our Only Verified Equine Species is what it stands for. And we're trying our best to just do more of what Haas does. We need to actually get this group together, get members next year, and really set things in motion. But we made the constitution for it that the school requires.
So this is another advocacy.
It's another advocacy group, another group meant to kind of get students and younger people involved in trying to help with the horses. Because I know it's hard to get my generation involved. It's hard to get my little sister's generation involved because it's hard to care right now. And all it takes is sitting down, listening to someone like Daryl. And it's not going to be long before you light a passion and a fire underneath people. Just once people know what's happening, they'll hop on board and want to help. So that's what I've learned anyways.
So why do you think people should care about these horses?
Everyone likes an underdog. Everyone likes an underdog. And that's what these horses are. They have been slaughtered mercilessly by the government for generations. They have been picked on. They've been bullied despite everything they have done for the people of Canada. They have not been treated fairly. And I've learned a lot of that through my interviews, that they've just historically been persecuted. And at this point, their numbers are tiny. They should be endangered. And if they make this comeback, it will be probably one of the greatest underdog stories of all time. They're coming back from the brink of extinction. And we're doing everything we can to just give them a fighting chance.
So what can other people do?
Same as, what I'm doing. I just started a group in the school that I still need to, get members and whatnot together, but I have to do that. And you can write to your local member of parliament. If you live in Canada, you know, all the stuff I say in the outro. You can write directly to the Minister of Parks in Alberta. If you don't live in Canada, you can't write to your local government official, but you can still follow Haws on Facebook. You can follow all of the advocacy groups. The Alberta Mountain Horse Preservation Society is also a great one to follow on Facebook, and just show that you care. If you watch the podcast as well, we have numbers. We can show those numbers to anyone who asks and go, this is one season. We're getting, some of our videos are almost at 2,000 views. That's way more than I expected. So it's just get involved. You don't have to do a lot. Even every single view really does count. It's a number that we can go, look, we've got these views we can show, right? Every subscriber, all of that, it all is tangible numbers that we can show and go, these are all unique people, individual people that are interested and they want to help, they want to do things, and they don't think that what's happening to the horses is right.
Now you're saying that you're quite surprised by your friends that wanted to jump on the bandwagon.
Wanted to hop on and help. I didn't expect to have an editor in Austria. I didn't expect Jensen to come in and help. I didn't expect my friend Chase to come in and help with our script editing. I didn't expect you to write full scripts for us. I didn't expect Mac to show up and start helping with lighting. Like, everyone came together. I didn't expect
Naomi
I didn't expect Naomi to sit down and record some parts for us when she's 6 months pregnant or whatever it was. Everyone came together and helped in a way that I didn't expect. When we first started this, I thought I would be doing almost everything entirely by myself. And the fact that I don't have to do that is a weight off of my shoulders, but it's really special to have a community of just people who are helping me because they believe in the podcast and they believe in its message. I have no idea how we're going to script this one, but it's kind of just ad-libbed interview with the cast and the crew of everyone who wanted to help this season. So I've got, excuse me. It's been one heck of a long day. Whew. Okay, I've got 3 questions for you. The first question is, well, of the entire cast and crew, you're probably the first one who could really be considered some kind of Wildy advocate. So what got you into wild horse advocacy? What started your journey, and how did you get involved with wild horses?
Well, I've always been a horse lover. You know that. We had a big breeding farm out in Ontario and sold that and moved here. So I've always had horses, still have horses. And then found out by somebody taking me out west that there was wild horses here. And I had no clue when I lived in Ontario that there were wild horses in Alberta. Absolutely no clue whatsoever. Wow. And the first time I got taken out to go see the Wildies, that was it. I was hooked.
From then on, you were like, this is it.
Yeah. And then somehow I found the Haws Facebook group. Mm-hmm. And I was posting on some of the other photographer groups of my videos and my pictures of wild horses that I was taking. And I was messaging with Daryl. Had some questions with him. And then one day I had taken Hunter out and we came across a wild horse, a wild stallion, sitting in the ditch. Knight was his name. And the poor thing. So he had a broken femur, something like that. Contacted Daryl, and he sent Trent from the RCMP to go and look at this horse. Hunter and I then went. We didn't really want to put the horse down at that time. Mm-hmm. We wanted to do everything but put him down. Got him to stand up, and he was unable to weight bear on his one hind leg. And then we thought, well, maybe we don't know what it is. We're not a vet. We don't know what it is. We don't know what's wrong with him. We'll see if he's able to walk off. So Hunter and I went to look at some more horses, came back, and he was lying down this time. And he couldn't get up. And that's when we also noticed that his genitals were swollen to about 4 times the size that they should have been, and realized that he had some kind of catastrophic injury. So called Daryl back, called Trent, and then the RCMP came and they dispatched him. So that was the first time I really got involved with Daryl. As well, I interviewed Daryl because at that time I was writing a book on the Wildies, a fiction book. And I have since written another fiction book, which hopefully will be published next year, based on another rescue that Hunter and I participated in last year. So we've also seen another rescue. We've seen a few rescues. Hunter and I go on some adventures together, some quite interesting adventures when we go out there.
Every time you guys come back, you've got new stories.
Yep. Like last year, it started off in May where we saw the horses at the bottom of the cliffs at the Panther River. And then Hunter says, look, Oma, up there. And there was a mare with a foal. And the foal was falling down the cliff. And at that time, I'd had surgery on my left arm, so I couldn't go climb up. So I started videoing. And then, lo and behold, another car pulls up beside us, and Dustin gets out. And he scales this cliff and rescues the foal. And that video went viral and went actually international on the news.
Wow.
So that was the first one. And then after that, I got another call in August while Daryl was out. And by this time, I'm now the admin for his page, one of the admins. He has several for his page. And he was out, and we got a notification of a foal that was in distress because he was living with his deceased mother and refusing to leave her. So we went to rescue that one. And that's the one that I wrote the children's book about. So I'm hoping to get that published, and that's the way I'm doing my part in it. But it's addictive when you go out there and you go and see the wild horses, and you never know what you're going to come across when you go out there. It's always an adventure.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, well, I guess that kind of leads a little bit into our next question. And you, for the podcast, this is the cast and crew episode, you take care of getting the guests, making sure that we can either meet or that the travel arrangements, you get me in contact with them, and you kind of make sure that all of the interviews are able to happen. You're also very active on our social media page, on our YouTube, and you take care of a whole bunch of different things behind the scenes for the podcast. I think you've been there either operating the board or on the laptop or doing something at every single interview as well that has been in person, and it has been incredibly helpful. But my main question, I know you're my mom, I know you're supposed to help me, but you still chose to help me. This was a lot of work, a lot of your time that you gave up. Why? Why did you decide to help me and help me build this season, start this podcast?
Oh, it's something I'm very interested in, and something that I feel really needs some help. I mean, these horses are unique to Alberta. They're special. They just take your breath away. And I want that for generations to come, for Hunter and his grandkids, for generations to come, that people can see these beautiful wild horses in their wild state. So it was something really important to me to do that.
Okay, for sure. And why should people care about these horses? We've asked every single guest on the show, every interviewee. It makes sense for the cast and crew to get the question as well. Why should we care?
Well, they embody the spirit that we want. They're independent, they're social, they've got the wildness in them, the freedom, all the values that I think we as human beings really treasure. And those horses embody that, and they embody hope as well. For instance, with some of these rescues, I mean, these horses the challenges that they face are just absolutely incredible. And they're beating the odds, and they give hope to, if they can do it, then we can do it too.
Thank you. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole thing. There, so.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, well, this is my interview with Hunter, who has been very helpful and instrumental in actually setting up the studio everywhere we go. You kind of, every time we've had an interview that you were able to make, you've been more than helpful in setting up and tearing down and getting everything ready. And so I guess since you as well have done a lot for actually helping the horses, what got you into wild horse advocacy?
Essentially, Oma, of course, my grandma, because she's taken me out to the wild horses just once, and we saw so many horses just on that one day. And then I got hooked to it, just like she did, from taking me out that one day. And I've kind of grown up around horses because I've been to the barn a lot where she keeps her horse, and I've gone out to see the Wildies a whole lot.
Yeah, you have. You've been out there more than I have by now, and it seems every weekend you're going out there, and you've taken part in several rescues as well. Like I said, you do a lot of setup and tear down. You've done a lot of camera work for us as well. We've put you to work. Give me a sec here to remember what my second question was, because I forgot it. Oh, there we go. I know you're my son, but that doesn't mean you have to help. You can say no at any time, but you still chose to come to the interviews, take time out of your weekends and whatnot to help record all of these. So why did you decide that you wanted to help with the podcast?
I kind of want my future to be able to go out there and see the wild horses. So, like, if this podcast does really well, as I'm thinking it will, and the wild horses stay, because I have a baby brother on the way. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping that when he's born, he can go out when he's old enough and see some wild horses, and they won't be gone. Yeah,
that would be ideal if we can keep them around for a long time. And I think the camera is pointing at you. You're about the same height as Oma, so you should be in there, right? He's in frame?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that, Jensen. We checked later. Okay, so my last question, I think you saw Oma's interview. You know what's coming. Why should people care about these horses? Why do you care about the wild horses?
Well, I care because I should care. Because they're horses, and horses are animals. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, they're an animal that represents Alberta. It's like a symbol of Alberta. Mm-hmm. Like, because people come out here and they want to see wild horses. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe they don't, but they'll see wild horses. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, it's not hard to go and see them, right? So, well, thank you so much. Thanks for all the work you've done this season, and next season will be a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, buddy. Oh,
that's the second time.
Yeah, I keep kicking him over. All right. Well, there we go. That's another interview. That's 2 interviews done right there. Difficult for you. So, Mac, you have spent so much time behind these lights at the studio, in the actual booth where we record downstairs. You've spent a ton of time on the other side for a lot of the interviews. I think every single intro and outro, you've been there to help record.
All but one.
Yeah. Every single episode that's just me behind the camera, you're at the computer making sure everything's coming through, the audio's working and all of that. It has actually been such a huge help to have you there, to know that, so that I have peace of mind knowing that all of everything I'm saying isn't going to have to be re-recorded later. It's going through, it's working in real time. And my question to you, I know you're my roommate. I know we live together and you won't get any sleep unless we get this done on time, but you still could have said no. Mm. So why are you helping me?
I'm your roommate. I've also been your friend for 15-ish years about. And realistically, when you told me, like, if you told me that the horses and whatnot were, like, over a year ago, told me the horses were, like, declining, like, at the 1,500 mark, I never would have believed you. There's no way. Like, I see horses in movies. I see horses on, like, commercials. They're used in Hallmark in every 603 movies, right? we are shown a presentation of horses that make you believe that horses aren't an issue. We have 1,500 horses. When you told me that and that you needed help with setting up a podcast and whatnot, I was like, yeah, if I can do this amount to help, I'll do this amount to help and more if I can. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've been behind the scenes the entire time, for most of it at least, around my own schedule. But knowing that you and everyone else here is passionate about trying to bring the light about this, I'm more than happy to see if I can get the flow moving as well.
Yeah. Moving. Yeah, because like you said, a lot of what we see in media and stuff is just the horses, but domesticated ones. You don't really think about the wild horses and the fact that they might be struggling.
Yeah, no, not a single time throughout almost 30 years that I think that the wild horses were struggling. You have the documentaries and whatnot showing wildlife in general. They'll touch on the horse population, but they'll never tell you numbers. This is a wild horse.
We caught one.
Yeah, look, they're fine, but they're not.
Yeah.
They're far from it. And it does hurt me deep down inside. And it hurts the ears of my coworkers on how often I talk about it. To be fair, I talk about it a lot. My bad. But yeah, it is something that I grew into this passion with you when I started learning at roughly the same time as you did with mom's stories and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's because you were one of the guys that learned how to operate the barn for the girls back in high school. That's why we did it. And I remember we were haying the barn together, throwing the hay up there. And
or I was paid. I was getting paid than women, but now.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's kind of developed into a passion that neither of us saw coming.
No, not at all. It is now something that I actively watch our videos because I like relearning everything that I'm also kind of paying attention to with everything else. It's awesome to hear multiple different perspectives from all the interviews that you've done. So it's amazing to feel that I'm starting to understand the actual legitimacy of this issue. It's such a community that we can put together and thrive through and hopefully get those numbers from down here to up here. Probably not in our lifespan, let's be real, but at least we can get it started.
We can get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
All right. And my last question for you. It's the question we've asked every single guest who's appeared on this show. You are no exception. I was asked this question. Why should people care about these horses?
Well, if you think about it, everyone has a favorite animal. Dogs, cats, dolphins, goats. I love goats. And horses are also a major key in everyone's personal lives if you are a fan of them. If they go extinct, basically, out of our Alberta wild horses go extinct, that's a huge portion of an entire ecological system gone. They're gone. They start becoming more scarce and they'll eventually be forgotten, kind of like some of the other extinct species like the dodo bird. Not forgotten because the name's funny for sure, but definitely gone and there's no coming back. That can happen to the horses. I believe I want to help as much as I do, because if I find out that those horses leave, I'm going to be devastated. Because that's something that we could have prevented. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And at the moment, with our dwindling numbers, it's only a matter of time until they might become just another forgotten statistic.
I guess we'll just hop into it here. You, Chase, are one of my closest friends, have been for quite a long time. You actually live pretty far away.
I do.
You just happened to be visiting and we're like, okay, random Wednesday, this episode airs in 4 days. Let's just get this interview done. But you've been our script editor and you have been such a huge help getting those scripts and getting things ready, especially for the long solo episodes. A lot of those are probably wouldn't have been done as well without you. So
thank you.
The question, of course, to ask is, What made you decide to help?
Well, I mean, first of all, we've been best friends for like 17 years, which is definitely a factor. But, you know, the beginning of that 17 years was when, you know, I would come and get away from my own family, and I would come and hang out with you, and we would wake up early in the morning. We would go and, you know, your mom would have taken the horses out. We'll go and we clean out all the stalls. We muck the stalls. We go replace all the feed and bring them back in, and you get to interact with the horses. And quite specifically too, I remember Major. He always sticks out the most in my mind for two reasons. One is just in general, just his antics. He thought he was the absolute funniest thing on the planet. You'd walk by and he would just like jump at you to try and scare you, and then like laugh hysterically because he thought he was so funny. Or like just like if you were standing nearby, he'd just like lick your head. He was also a massive horse. Yeah. Major was huge.
Yeah.
But and then as well, specifically, the one time when I was helping you out and a horse got loose, it was Major, the biggest horse that was there. And I remember just focus on the one thing, just stand still and he'll stop. And I remember us finally getting him back in and stuff. But honestly, just spending that time with the horses in the mornings, you know, it's like 6 a.m. or whatever, and we're out there mucking the stalls and getting everything ready for them. It's just all the times that we had and all the times that I had with the horses and getting to be around them and spend time with them was just really meaningful to me on a more personal note. And then there's just, you know, being exposed to horses throughout all of my life, like seeing them myself and being around them physically, and then just consuming media with horses in it. There's, you know, all the old westerns that I used to watch and stuff. And I don't know, it's when you would start talking to me about the wild horses of Alberta, when you started telling me about what was going on, it was just immediately something that I was like, this is a genuinely important and good cause to be able to support. And if there's something I can do, I'm more than happy to help. Not only to support my friend, but to support a cause that's worth fighting for. And I truly believe that it is something that is worth fighting for. They're fantastic creatures. They're incredibly complicated. And they have a wonderful story to tell and can touch many lives based on those stories. So it was a no-brainer for me.
For sure. Thank you. Yeah, it was really something. I remember mucking those stalls, those early mornings, way back in high school now.
Yeah.
And that was like a really big bonding thing between you and I, because we were like, man, this sucks. But like, and like throwing hay up into the hay loft.
Yeah,
and
throwing the hay up after it got delivered and stuff.
Just the general barn chores that you and I would always be doing. And
yeah.
It was
with all the horses. Yeah.
It's funny because I'm like thinking about it to myself. If you'd asked me before this, I would have been like, no, horses haven't been a huge part of my upbringing. But then it's like, I lived on a horse farm. I did the horse chores with my buddy. I've had so many different people helping with them. But yeah, horses did play a much larger part in my upbringing than I remember. And then I guess that kind of leads into my next question. You spoke a lot about domestic horses. Mm-hmm. But why should people care about the wild ones?
For so many reasons. I mean, like looking at the state of the world today and how many different animals and different environments that humans have interacted with, basically the only place that we aren't actively existing in all the time is the deep ocean. Like we are covering the rest of the planet, and we are affecting the life of every other living thing that's on it. We are the major cause of most issues, and we can be the major cause of the remedies as well. And this is a wild animal that has existed for a very long time. I know there's been lots of episodes where we've discussed the different history of the horses and horses in Canada and in Alberta specifically, and the wild mountain horse. But regardless, they are an animal, and they have the right, rather, to be here and be free and experience life, whether that goes well or doesn't, because, life is cruel. I'm sure many of us feel that even amongst our own lives, let alone looking through nature and how nature functions, but it's also incredibly beautiful. I think that being able to preserve that life and give that opportunity for it to exist without our influence is incredibly important. I think that the wild mountain horse, amongst many other wild animals in Alberta, in all of Canada, and all across the world, that they absolutely deserve that opportunity to stake their claim in the wild that they have been denied, and that we have so much interfered with. I think people should care about these horses because they should care about all the living things that are out there, maybe not mosquitoes, but everything on this planet has the right to live. Every living thing, every tree, every plant, every animal has the right to live. It's the entire purpose of life, is to continue creating more of it. And just the sight of some of these horses is, I don't know, there's something that's just surreal about it. Watching nature be nature, outside of any human influence, is just an incredible thing. And I truly think that no one should ever have a problem with allowing nature to be nature. That, you should always try and be on the positive side to allow that to exist outside of us, because, we're very capable of completely changing what nature we allow. Human beings have developed remarkable capabilities. We have air conditioning. We can completely control an environment, a contained environment, rather. And we have the potential to be able to do a lot to the external environment of the planet, and being able to allow everything else to exist on it the way that it does, the way that it finds its own stability, is just too important to ever not want to support it. I truly believe that anyone who has experienced life should be more than happy to support life.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you so much for your time and all of the work you've put in. You've put in
more than happy to.
So many hours, and you've been helping just like everybody else. Mm-hmm. And everyone who's volunteered not only their time, but their passion has been so helpful. So just a big thank you from me to help me see this podcast get off the ground, really.
Absolutely. Well, I'm more than happy to have done all of the work, and honestly, I want to say thank you to yourself, as well as all of the people that have been on the podcast, because through going through the process, watching all of the video, seeing all of the interviews, as well as expanding my own research on all of the subject matter that we're covering, looking into things, actually doing my own work, so that I'm not just taking things at face value and going through all of the information. It's been incredibly beneficial to me, because I've learned a ton. And learn some incredibly interesting things. So thank you, because I feel better for learning all of that.
Of course.
Hi, I'm Jensen. I am the audio and video editor for the Wildies West. I also do proofreading and whatever else they really need me to do. I figured I would introduce myself because Chase forgot to. Everyone else got these long, glorious introductions, and then I get this.
Okay, I'm also going to ask you your questions real quick, just so that it doesn't seem like that's the only thing we needed. So Jensen, why did you decide to help me?
Love you, boo. Yeah, as the editor, I watch each episode, obviously, and I tend to break it down into sections and the different takes the guys send me. And I watch one part over and over to be able to catch as many mistakes as I can. Obviously, I don't catch all of them, especially when some of the nights I'm working on this until 8 a.m. a few nights in a row. But I try to catch as much as possible. But this also means that I end up hearing someone's voice so much that I just kind of want to use pencils as earplugs for a little while. By the way, Chase, we're not going to be talking for a couple months. I hope that's okay. It also means that I get this lovely thing I like to call my halftime show that happens either in between takes or in the middle of takes when the teleprompter isn't running. And they kind of look like this.
Okay. All right, that's probably enough generic footage for you.
He's
gonna use it. He's gonna use it.
He's gonna wait for him to say something super serious, but you acting like an absolute dick. Hold on, give him an apple so he looks like an apple.
Oh man. Yeah, like I know Jensen's gonna use it.
Oh, yeah.
I really regret it now, but whatever.
All right, time for question.
But you wanted me to answer some questions, so I'll answer them. First of all, why did I choose to help? Well, honestly, because if a friend asks for help, you help them, bud. Like, that's honestly what it boils down to. But as you know, I came over to Canada, and while I was there in December, I came and visited you, and you were telling me about this thing that you were doing, and you were like laying it out, and all of the different things that you had planned, and I'm just sitting there, and all I could think was, oh, you poor dumb bastard. I love you so much, but you have no idea what you're signing up for here. You have no idea how much work that is going to go into this. Like, so I offered my assistance first in editing and helping setting up the audio, which halfway through the season got messed up, it seems. As we continued, I saw you needing help in other spots, and so I stepped up where I could, where my skills allowed. So yeah, I didn't join for the horses. I joined for you, my friend. I joined so that between this, the baby on the way, work, and school, you didn't end up hating yourself, burning out, not putting out something that you were proud of, and just so your big old heart wouldn't give out. Big lug? Come on. So then the second question, the question that you ask absolutely everybody, why should we care about these horses? So you've heard everybody else answer, and all of their answers were very specific to horses. And, I was kind of raised with horses, I guess. I mean, when we lived in Edmonton, we would go down to this little farm by the White Mud that had horses and go out and see them. Then when I was living in Sylvan Lake in my tweens, I was in 4-H and I did ride horses. So yeah, I was raised around horses, but they've never really been important to me. However, the podcast does touch on issues that are really important to me, and the horses do kind of fit into that. And that is the impact that we have on nature. All of nature's, from the forests to the oceans to the creatures that are in it, and that includes the horses. See, in the society that we live in today, humans tend to have a disgustingly parasitic relationship with nature, all in the name of profit and growth. And that's something that always bothers me. But I digress. I firmly believe that we have a responsibility to the planet and to each other, really, to strive for a more symbiotic and sustainable relationship with nature. I think that doing your part, in this case, in my case, being a voice for a creature that can't be a voice for themselves, is contributing to that goal. So, why should we care about these horses? Because if we don't respect, appreciate, and care for the things that we're given, they'll disappear. Eventually, the day will come that enough things have disappeared that the only thing left to disappear will be us. And that's why we should care.
Well, that brings us to the end of season 1. Thank you so much for hanging out, watching this season, and just spending your time with us here at the Wildy West. Next season is going to come out a little bit slower. We want to have the entire thing fully recorded and edited before we start rolling out episodes, because it just seemed like a lot of work to put on everyone here, and it caused a lot of undue stress for people. So I want the episodes to come out slower, and if we do that and give ourselves more time, in the end, the episodes are going to be better. We are going to start conducting interviews and coming up with storyboarding and scripts over the summer here, and then we're hoping to publish episode 1 around the same time we published episode 1 of season 1. So please look forward to that. Hopefully we will be able to do the 13 episodes that we had originally planned for as well. And if you have any suggestions for an episode, if you have anyone you'd like us to reach out to try and interview, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to us at thewildywest@gmail.com or on Facebook. Just reach out to us. Let us know on any of our social medias, episode ideas, people you'd like to see us interview. If there's anything we're doing that you think we could do better and in a way that you think would bring in more engagement and more people into the story, please let us know that as well. We want to make this the best possible. We want this to be the best form of entertainment and of getting the information out there and a great place for it, the best we can possibly make it. So please, any and all suggestions are more than welcome. Please send them our way. We want to make this the best we can, really. If you want to help, there are a ton of different things you can do yourself. If you live in Canada, you can write to your local member of parliament or directly to the Minister of Parks in Alberta. Or maybe if you're not as comfortable doing that, you might want to follow the Help Alberta Wildy Society or HAWS on Facebook to get more involved and see what other things you can do. And of course, a huge thank you to them for all of their help this season. They have done so much for us, and we really appreciate them. We also really appreciate the Alberta Mountain Horse Preservation Society, and you can check them out on Facebook. Their website is also going to be in our show notes, same with Hawes's, but you might want to check out what they're doing. You can see that on their Facebook and see what they're doing to help. The information for both of these groups can of course be found in our show notes, and of course every single like and comment means so much to us, and clicking subscribe on YouTube will do even more. Every little bit truly does help, and it allows me to show tangible proof that people care. If you'd be so kind as to share this with friends or family that you think might be interested in this topic, or who you think would want to help, I would really appreciate it. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can find us on Twitter or X and Blue Sky using the tag @TheWildyWest. For any business inquiries, suggestions, anything like that, please contact us at thewildywest@gmail.com. Once again, I have been your host, Chase McGoran. Thank you so much for watching and listening to The Wildy West. Perfect. Okay. Sorry, Jensen.
Another clap.
Real quick, I f***ed up. I did a little bit of wucky. So I said season finale for episode 1. I'm sure you noticed that and went, God damn it, Chase. So the season finale for season 1. There we go. That's going to be so awkward and janky to edit in. I'm sorry. I'm bad. But if you can, I appreciate you. Okay, I'm also going to ask you your questions real quick, just so that it doesn't seem like that's the only thing we needed. So Jensen, why did you decide to help me?
The puppy dog eyes.
Okay. All right, that's probably enough generic footage for you.
He's gonna,
He's gonna use it. He's gonna use it.
He's gonna wait for him to say something super serious, but you acting like an absolute dick. Hold on, give him an apple so he looks like he's more than that.
Oh man. Yeah, like I know Jensen's gonna use it.
Oh, yeah.
I really regret it now, but whatever.
All right, time for question.
So why should people care about the wild horses? Yeah. Generic footage.
Okay.
That's the 2 questions, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.